knowing where you're at on the field makes the play work. If you're out of position, typically you're going to be out of the play. If you don't know where you're at on the field, it's the same thing as you not knowing your business. I got with the guys, they're new to sales. They don't know the whole setup. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I get people who have never been in sales to understand what sales is? Since the guys and I spend so much time on the football field, I'm saying I'm going to put this in terminology so they understand what it is. And so I said, you have to know down and distance. And that's probably the most important part of sales, is that you have to know where you're at in the game, and you need to know where you're at on the field. If it's 4th and 19, I ask them, what are you going to run? If it's 4th and 19, what play are you calling? It's probably going to be a pass play, right? It's going to be deep routes, right? But whatever it is, your playbook is very limited at 4th and 19, and especially if it's 5 minutes left in the game and you're down 2 touchdowns. The point is that if you walk into a sales situation, you have to know down and distance. You have to know where they're at. You have to know what the situation is, so you know what to call. If you just walk in and you have the same sales pitch for every single person, number one, the enthusiasm for what you're selling goes away. But number two, you don't even know what they need. Knowing down and distance is the number one thing I'm going to tell anybody. Again, I'm putting this in football terms, but we spent, a decade on the football field, figured that this was the best way for them to know. So down and distance, knowing where the client's at is the best way to be able to get in and get that sale, because you can then pinpoint what play you're going to call on that situation. After down and distance, we looked at technique. In other words, that's the part that I said you need to find out what you're going to solve and how you're going to solve it. So there's a technique that we use on our releases, the mesh with the QB, the technique that the line's going to use. Every technique is different depending on the play call, depending on the film in which you watch. So our line might have 2-foot splits. It could have 3-foot splits, right? The idea is our technique in which we're going to deploy in football is the same as what we're going to deploy in business. So you found out down and distance. Now you're going to deploy your technique, which is the details. What is their problem? What details of your service apply to that problem and are going to fill the gap in service that they're missing? Okay, so we go into depth or placement on the field. So I asked them, I said, as a linebacker, what was your depth from the line of scrimmage? If they're playing back, right, it's going to, they're anticipating some passing play, they might be at 8 yards, right, as a linebacker. Our receivers, if we have out routes, our placement on the fields, right, so if we've got a 5-yard out route, you can't be, over the numbers. Knowing where you're at on the field makes the play work. If you're out of position, typically you're going to be out of the play. So if you don't know where you're at on the field, it's the same thing as you not knowing your business. You have to know the trends within your business. You have to know statistics within your business. You have to know what your competition is doing. You have to know how the whole field lays out in order for that play to work. So a lot of people will go into it and they know what they're selling, but they don't know their industry. They don't know their business. They don't know the trends that are going on within their industry. Learning and become a student of what is going on around you is going to make you that much better, because facts matter. And when you get into a conversation who knows a thing or two, you can push back on someone trying to brush you off or not take your sales by just knowing your business. So these are the 3 things that I gave them. I gave them the down and distance, I gave them technique, and I gave them knowing your depth or placement on the field. Those 3 things translate into business in terms of know what the problem is, how your business is going to solve those problems, and then, of course, knowing your industry to be able to state those facts that get you deeper into the conversation that gets the sale.